Today on Simply Simmons, we are making cannelloni carbone. We're actually making manicotti carbone, but apparently there's a shortage of manicotti. So we had to switch at the last minute. So a cannelloni is a tube-shaped pasta from the south of Italy. This is what it looks like. We're going to stuff it with a ricotta and spinach mixture, and then we're going to top it with our fabulous Carbone Marinara sauce that was sent to us from Carbone's restaurant. Now, of course, I am going to doctor up the sauce a little bit. I have made some roasted garlic in advance. I also am going to go out into my garden and get some fresh basil. In the meantime, before, I had to prep my spinach because I used fresh spinach today. So after I washed it and cleaned it, then I put it in the food processor to make sure that it was very finely chopped and all the water was removed. I also added some parsley, which I always put into my lasagna. And then we've got our shredded mozzarella, thanks to Central Market that shreds our mozzarella for us because I grated my parmesan by hand today. So this is gonna be basically we're gonna make the filling right now. Now, if you watched me with the spinach, chopping that spinach and preparing that spinach, I kept the stems because I always keep any kind of stems because I make a pot liquor during the week. I make a bone broth that I drink a lot. So you can always do something with that or you can eat it. I keep all the stems of the cilantro because I've got great flavor when I use cilantro. That's just another tip. So let's go ahead and start assembling our filling. And then we're gonna come back and do the hard part, which is to assemble our cannellonis here, okay? Hopefully it won't break too many. Before we start, the ingredients will always appear on the screen and down below so you will know exactly how to make this recipe. And if you want to follow along, fine. If you want to do it later, fine. Either way, you'll have the ingredients. So we're going to start with full fat ricotta cheese. I do not do low fat cheese, people. If you want to do it, that's your business, not in my house. So we like butter, we like full fat cheese, we like all the things that make food delicious and tasty. But if you're on a low fat program, I guess you could do low fat ricotta. I've never done that before, but I mean, we are eating pasta, so I mean, let's get real, people, okay? Let's be realists, we're having pasta. Then we're going to add our spinach. Here, this is the spinach that I chopped, and then I put also in the food processor before. And with the spinach, you can use fresh spinach like I did, or you can also buy the packaged spinach that's in the frozen section. I've used it before, I've used it in lasagna. And it's really good, but just make sure you squeeze the water out. That's so important. You gotta get all that water out. Now, I always add parsley to my lasagna and to my manicotti, and now my cannelloni. You know, nothing like calling an audible in the kitchen, which is pretty much what I do every week. And you guys are learning along with me because I'm a busy working woman. I don't have a lot of time to prep these recipes beforehand. I do cook a lot for my family, but you know, I'm kind of like a fly by the seat of my pants girl, so if I make mistakes, you're gonna see them and I don't really care, it's fun, right? One beaten egg, okay, that's going in next. And very simple filling. The hardest part of this whole recipe is going to be filling. And it's best to use a pastry bag, which I'll show you in a minute. But my mother doesn't do that, she doesn't do pastry bags. She does it old-fashioned way with a spoon and sticks it in the tube. That could be interesting. We're now gonna add the 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Italian seasoning is just basically, let me think, rosemary, thyme, oregano, marjoram, maybe a little sage, can't remember, something like that. You can find it anywhere at the store. And then we have our 3 cups of mozzarella, but we're only gonna add 1 cup to the filling, and we're gonna reserve the rest of the mozzarella for the topping of the cannelloni because you want all that ooey gooey cheese on top that makes it so good. My kids love this recipe. They love anything Italian food. My husband doesn't like Italian food. Isn't that weird? I think that's really weird. He thinks every Italian food recipe is like the Olive Garden, which I'm trying to talk him out of that because it's not. But he actually likes mine. He liked my pasta the other night. In general, he's not an Italian food eater, but the kids love it. They want spaghetti all the time and lasagnas and things like that. So now we're gonna add the ½ cup of Parmesan cheese. You can also go back if you want and put some Parmesan on top of the cannelloni. If you like, it gives that little crunchy kind of texture to it. basically, that is going to be my filling. Now, if you want to add salt and pepper, definitely taste it because the parmesan and the mozzarella in there does already give you kind of a salty flavor. You do not want to over salt this. I'm gonna probably put some pepper in there. So let me taste first and see what we're gonna do. Really doesn't need a lot of salt. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of salt in there and a little bit of pepper. So I'll be right back to do that. Okay, I've got my Celtic or Celtic sea salt. I'm gonna do half a teaspoon at a time and taste as I go. Of course, I always use my Lowry seasoned pepper or my freshly ground pepper, but today we're gonna use Lowry's. And I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of the Lowry seasoned pepper in this recipe. Then I'm gonna mix that up and retaste. And then if I wanna add another teaspoon of the salt, I can, but I just don't wanna be too aggressive. Like I said, those cheeses have a salty taste. So it's up to you. You don't even have to put any salt at all. Most recipes, some don't call for salt at all, but I do. I put a little bit in there. Okay, one more taste. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'll be back to stuff the cannellonis. Okay, so now I am going to get some of my fresh basil and cut it. Now, this basil I started growing in the wintertime, that's why it's inside. I'm not gonna move it because it's doing quite well. I have a whole garden of fresh herbs outside because if you go to the supermarket and buy herbs, that's great, but they can be quite expensive. And if you can, grow them at home, it's even better. So here we go. I've cut some basil for our sauce, and I'm not saying I'm gonna use all this. We're gonna taste test as we go. But there's my fresh basil for my tomato sauce. So today I'm using the Carbone sauce, but I went and chopped some of my fresh basil. And here it is, I'm gonna show you something. You're going to take it and you're gonna chiffonade it. But in order to do that, you're gonna roll the basil. See that? It's rolled kind of like a little cigar, a little tube. And when you get it tightly rolled, now it's untightly rolling, of course, then you chop it into a chiffonade. Okay. There's our basil. Now, in the meantime, this morning I went ahead and took some garlic and roasted it in the oven. And all you do is simply cut off the top, put it in the oven like 400, 450, whatever, until it gets a golden brown, roast it. And then you're gonna squeeze that into the sauce. So let's take our sauce. Well, actually, I'm gonna do it now because my hands are already covered in the garlic. So if you watch this, see that squeeze out? Just like that? That's gonna have that great roasted garlic flavor that you're gonna really, it's gonna kick up the sauce a little bit and be great with the cannelloni. Okay, so now we're gonna take our sauce and move over to the stove and start heating that up because I'm gonna have to use some of the sauce on the bottom of the dish before we start to put the cannellonis in there when they're assembled. Okay, our sauce is warm. We have our baking dish that we are going to start with. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spoon some of this sauce from Carbone's with a little extra roasted garlic and our basil into the bottom of the pan. Then we will start putting together our cannellonis. And remember, I am not a culinary school graduate. Okay. If I can do this, you can do this. There we go. Now, it's pretty full. Here we go. Now, let's take our little noodle and we're going to fill it, okay? See here. I'm gonna twist this. I'm gonna twist the bottom. There you go. So it works the right way. Oops. Okay. It's working. There you go. Beautiful little cannelloni. So let's try again and fill in a little bit more. Okay, there you go. Voila, number 1. Got one down. Sorry. Okay, so make sure that the stuff doesn't come out the top like mine. You gotta keep twisting, guys. Let's twist together. Let's twist and shout. Let's twist and oh shit, now that thing is farting. Oh my god, help me. Okay, well, here. Ooh, that one worked really well. Here we go. I think it just needs a bigger tip. And nobody's here to watch me. Nobody's here watching me but you guys. He needs it in both ends. I'm not using pastry bag ever again. I decided this is like the end of the pastry bag line for me. I'll be coming to a city near you to demonstrate this technique on stage. Oh my god, okay. There you go. I'm back. I've cleaned up my station. And it doesn't really matter that these are not so pretty because we're gonna cover them with sauce and cheese. I have to go to pastry bag school because today I did not cut it with pastry bag. Sorry, carbones, but it's gonna taste good. Who cares? Okay, we're taking our sauce now. We're gonna spoon it over our lovely looking cannelloni that we just made. Oh Lord, oh my God. So here's my remaining 2 cups of grated mozzarella cheese, not fresh mozzarella cheese. We're going to go ahead and just layer that on top of this beautiful dish. I had already grated this parmesan for the filling, so I think I'm just gonna add just a little bit more to my topping here, just to give it that little crunch. Now we're gonna put it in the oven for about 35 minutes, and then we're going to be ready to eat. So our cannelloni carbone has been in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes, and looks like to me it's ready to come out. It's looking good. No matter what we went through to get here, it's gonna work. I told you it'd be beautiful. Nobody knows what the inside looks like. They're just gonna taste it and they're gonna be so excited because it's gonna be delicious. Okay, so I have plated up my cannelloni carbone and everyone's gonna come and try it. See what they think.
All right.
What are we gonna call it? The pastry bag pandemonium day. Happy Friday the 13th. Here, give me the little tiny. I've been tasting stuff all day. Cheers.
I'm so excited for this.
Hopefully it's much better than it was making it.
I think making it was the best part.
I told you people, pastry bag or not, this dish is it.
This is so good.
So good. Okay. I told everybody out there in YouTube land that you guys like pasta and your dad doesn't. That
No, I don't. I'm not a big ravioli guy.
this isn't ravioli.
It tastes like ravioli.
You don't like it?
I love it.
Oh, good. Okay. So good. Thank God for that.